Hello and welcome to what was probably our penultimate session of Voidheart Symphony. Uh, what a year! What a bump of sessions! For those of you who follow this, and I know there are a couple people that do because I do see the views. We skipped last week because it was 90 degrees in my office. It is a little bit better this week, so we are trudging forward. This session is part of the Gauntlet Calendar, which is an online gaming community. You can find out more about that at gauntlet-rpg.com. We do a lot of stuff there. All sorts of details on our events. We have another open gaming event coming up in September. We are putting up about 100 sessions a month, which is a fair amount. And we're just in run up for the next few months of a number of people doing game facilitator camps. Some kind of workshops for game masters here on the Gauntlet. I'm very excited about that. Patrick's partner, Tyler, is the organizer of that, and it's very cool. So that was just my thing. My name is Lowell, pronouns he, him, and we are taking up with our characters here in City of Ocean. And last time we found out that there is a person in sort of the Bureau of kind of land and zoning and resources who is using their power illicitly, or at least they're using it to cause harm. And we saw particularly that they were causing harm to one of our NPCs, Sugarhawk's mom, that she was having some issues, and we got the sense that there was more of that happening elsewhere, that this person was pushing them in different directions. And we had a realization of sort of the supernatural elements of this, because the protagonists, our PCs, learned that in some cases when people were pushed out of these zones, they found that they couldn't like bring themselves to go back in, that they had a kind of a revulsion, a repulsion that pushed them away from doing that. We did run into some NPCs last time. We saw the skate witches. We had another visit with our barista. We saw Asteria. I think that we saw Sedenia on the program last time, and we heard a reference to the Doctor of Thursdays as someone supernatural in the know. So we're going to be taking up with our standard like sets of approaches. Sherry, remind me about where you're at. Do you have a crisis that is imminent, or do you have a crisis that is quelled? What is?
Mine is quelled.
Okay.
So yeah,
so for the moment, yours is taken care of. And what was the nature of that crisis again?
What a fine question. It got so soundly quelled that I have completely forgotten. So let me see here. Characters.
We also know
I have the wrong link for
okay.
the characters.
Let me
sorry.
Grab the link for that. We also know that a lot of what's going on with Moreau seems to be tied to the water and Oceanside and those kinds of things. There is the link.
I apologize, everyone.
That is okay.
Okay, that looks.
Oh yeah, the damplings, the leftover shard minions that were there.
So mine was taking heat from one of the teachers for essentially my last hour where I would leave early, and
That's right.
I got a new substitute in there for like a substantial time, and they, even though my chemistry teacher had allowed me to leave when the labs were done, this one doesn't want me to go.
Okay. But you've got that quelled. Patrick, what is Sasha's current crisis? I don't think it is quelled, is it?
Yes and no. I have two. Um,
Oh yeah.
so under infamy, I have the Hawkses, Sugar Hawk and Mama Hawk. Her eviction notice is has been a problem, and as I remember, it's like patched over, temporarily quelled.
Hmm.
I think he was trying to pressure them out before the official date on the eviction notice, but now I've cleared it that they've got till the date for us to try and figure it out.
Right,
So
right.
it is quelled at the moment. What is imminent is I have another crisis in lack where the locker or liquor or lacquer. It's very it's a bad
Yes.
acronym. I
Ah,
needed a little bit more direction. Anyways, there's an app that's out there that's cheaper than coming into my shop and getting my services. That's promising total home security through Bluetooth something something, and they don't provide particularly great services, but they're running such great sales that they're like killing my business right now.
and they say that they screen all their workers with background and security checks, but there's some question as to whether that is in fact the case.
Hmm.
So yeah, that is out there as an issue for you. And then Gabriel, what do we have for you as a crisis right now?
I have a doppelganger who
That's
is going about
right.
and posing as me, and I'll go into some store at the mall, and people say, "Well, weren't you just here? I thought you just came in like 30 minutes ago." And the only lead that I've been able to identify so far is that they are dripping. They have this sort of wet footprint quality to them. They leave behind these signs of moisture, shall we say.
Okay.
But I do have the skate witches on the case.
Excellent. So, as you may recall, we have essentially during the this phase when we're in the city, you can do two actions. We go around and do one action, and then we go around and do another one. You can do two everyday actions, or you can do an everyday action and a rebel action. So Charlotte, I'm going to start with you. What do you think that you would like to do?
So I remember mentioned that one of the beaches had been sort of closed down that used to be open to the public.
Yeah.
And with a particular fave of the surfers because it was kind of surrounded by, it was like not a beach that you go to sun in so much as it was sort of just an entryway off of the water in a place that was really handy for surfers.
Mhm.
So, and that there was like, it had a environmental survey going on. And because she wants to be an oceanographer, I think that one of the things that she will do is essentially get put together a thing like that she's doing a project for school in oceanography and stuff, and see if she can go and interview these people that are doing this survey to find out kind of what's going on and what the rationale is for it and what they're finding. And to see if she can get like any kind of name or echo of what it is that has brought this to this point.
So let me ask you this. Do you have, I'm going to remember to mark a Basil tick. Do you want to do this as a connect in which we kind of establish a figurehead person and we kind of put you in talking to them? Or do you want to do this more broadly with the rebel eyes? Or something else, if you have a move from a covenant or something like that. Oh yeah,
Oh, I like
covenants.
the idea that she kind of came in all rebel eyes, and then like when she meets the person, actually ends up switching to connect.
Okay.
So let's say that she intended to be more fierce, but kind of ended up meeting someone.
Yeah, so you will see that there's a team that's down there from the local oceanographic society. You end up talking to a number of people, and you end up talking to this. You're guessing they've just moved from college to being a grad student, tall and gangly kid. who's clearly trying to figure out his own identity. He's clearly maybe tried to dress himself very flashy and so on, and you can tell that he's maybe struggling and trying to figure that out. This is based on someone we know, who is in fact an oceanographer, and a delight. So this guy Kyle will chat with you, and he's like, so what is it you want to know?
He goes, well, I mean, I want to be an oceanographer. And so it's like a career interview, but like, I know this beach really well. This is like one that when I'm surfing, I come to, it didn't seem like it had a problem. So.
Okay, let's have you check against infamy. You're trying to convince them that you're worth their time, the energy that they're going to spend there.
All right. So I think that's one of my worst ones, isn't it?
Is it?
I don't know. Let's see here.
Do not forget that after
you
roll, you can always evoke a covenant and re-roll one of your dice.
Okay. So I'm going to roll 2d6. Let's see here. Was this the, we'll see if it's working. Did it die last week?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm rolling 2d6. I rolled a 6 and a 1.
So that
success.
is a mixed success. So let's look at the move. When you get a mixed success, they give you a chance to make your case. They'll answer a few questions. So do me a favor. And he does pause and he says, there were a number of anonymous reports that came into the system about some issues, which brought us out here. You know, it's a little unusual because I normally would have put those off. We work all along the California coast, and I would put that off as pauses, Karens and the like reporting things and so on, but the local city office took it seriously enough to put it up the chain, and you know, as I understood it, there was somebody who had been looking at buying the property to make it into like a public donatable area, and this survey has kind of soured them on the idea.
That's a shame.
Yeah, I mean, we're looking around. I mean, it needs cleanup, but what doesn't? Where you've got a beach in a kind of an urban area here, but we haven't found anything that right now would make us need to lock it down further. But we've been given time by the city to an extra couple weeks to do a really thorough investigation.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
She kind of goes, well, what kind of things do you investigate? So she turns it around, but so that she gets a sense of what kind of things they're going to look at. Like she's excited about what they do, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I think they'll go over the science of it. You know, what they're checking for, what they're looking for, the basics. You know, he'll show you the clipboard. Now, mind you, you're smart and science, but there's a lot of it that goes over your head. But you can see that clearly they've been given the money and the time to do every little delaying tactic investigation here. Does that sound like a fair answer?
Yes, it does. All right. And then I asked Kyle if he surfs.
No, I've never, I don't really have the balance for it.
Okay.
Sasha, what are you up to?
I want to check in with Leslie Sedano,
Okay,
the social worker and gardener for my major arcana.
absolutely. And the gardener. Ooh, I have the cards here, so I can look.
Ooh,
Ooh,
how fancy.
We're not in alphabetical order.
It's
Gardener's right
dark
at the
green. I
start.
remember that. Oh, Andy.
Nope,
Oh,
violet.
not at all.
Not at
Haha,
all what you thought.
wrong.
All right. So you go to check in with them. So tell me where you find them.
What are the check-in suggestions on that? You have that card there.
So when you check in, uh, so that's the city move. When you check in, see, that's what you do when you hang out. When you visit the gardener, they give you something impractical but important.
Isn't there on the other side? Is there like suggestions for ways to check in on them?
Best gardener gives us supporting. Doesn't provide suggestions on that.
It's a book open.
See, I've got this card and I thought this was going to solve all of our problems, but I was wrong.
I thought they did have one once. Whatever.
So at their best, support, betray.
Oh, legacy. I put it under legacy. That's so helpful. It's not in the V's at all.
Nurture this covenant when you grow into greater beauty, strength, there's
That's
support.
The one. Grow into beauty support. I don't know. And what did he did something? He's a person. He's a social worker.
Yeah. He's a pretty decent friend to you. He's worried about stuff. It is one of the things probably when you do meet up with him. Last time you took him on a shopping montage.
Yes. I think this time I'd meet up with him at something that a cause or something that he's working at.
Yeah. And he's like at a volunteer organization. And it's like got like a little street festival feel to it. Like people have put on booths and the locals stuff. And it clearly brought you here because it's kind of fun. But you see that he clearly like mixes this with work. Like he sees some people be talking to you and he sees somebody and he goes over and talks to them very earnestly, checks in with them. There's kind of a mix of people being glad to see him and it's this guy that you get from some of them. And he each time he's apologetic. He says, sorry, I just I just want to take advantage of that moment.
Oh no, it's fine. You're doing better than I would. I would not be so gentle with most of these people, I think.
I don't know if they'd see it as being gentle, but that's good to say. It is a lot. How are things going with LinkedIn? LinkedIn?
Liquor, I think, is mostly what I'm going with. They're all terrible. There's no good options. I don't know. It's obnoxious. I've had other things on my mind recently. Sugar Hawk's been having some problems, and that's just been, I don't know. It's been a lot. But I think is this like taking place at like a community center or something like that?
Yeah, let's say it's one of those intercommunity centers. Let's say it's one of those like ethnic community centers. So you're in essentially the like the Greek fest is going on here.
So I think as he gets drawn away and deals with these various like important meetings and crises and very important things that are not really that important and could have been handled in an email and things like that.
Yeah.
Sasha, who has just spent months having to upgrade his historic, decrepit, sort of falling apart building, is like looking around and sees like wiring that's corroding that he can fix, and like things that have maintenance and things that have degraded around here that he can just go spend a couple minutes working on because he studied how to do that just last month, and he's got the time and he doesn't want to distract Leslie from something he doesn't feel like he can help with.
Right. So he will come back over to you, as you're doing something, but what are you up to?
It's just the vent system. It's making that noise. That noise it was making. Well, that was one of the belts being out of sync, and I just sort of you can actually do this trick with paper clips, sort of use them as staples, shorten the belt a little, it tightens it all, and it won't last forever, but it keeps it going for a lot longer. It doesn't make that noise, which is the important part.
He says, so I don't know if you find this useful, but one of my clients gave me this multi-tool thing for like doing like house stuff, like stuff workaround. And like I don't really do that, but I thought maybe you could use it.
Ooh, it's got a whole set of Allen wrenches on
Yeah,
it.
he hands it to you. It is bulky. It was clearly made in the 1980s, probably advertised on television. It's it is wildly inefficient and impractical. Will take you longer to open it up and find the particular tool than it would to just rummage in a toolbox. What do you think?
um I think he's like one by one pulling out every attachment and like one unfolding every part of it all at once sort of thing, and just talking about like, oh, and there's another one of these. Oh, look, there's a thing that does this. 5 wire strippers? Why?
I think, yeah, it seems to me maybe they could have done something where they could have had just one and you could size it, but yeah, they've got the different ones.
Yeah, but then it wouldn't do this whole thing.
Yeah, it does butterfly out, doesn't it? Wow. I would better take you a while to put that away and put it in your pocket.
Uh, Thanks. I think this'll help. I've had to do a lot of this obnoxious stuff around the building as well.
Is your covenant with him faded?
It is.
Then you may re-strengthen it. And now you have an object that when you do a city move, you may convert a fail into a weak hit.
Nice. And I mark a world for that, and that fills up my
That's
world.
right. So you get a world advance. Do you
Mhm.
know what you want to take for your world advance?
I do. We had sort of talked about this, and situations have moved to a clearer thing on it. I want to put together a more permanent solution to Sugarhawks's mom's living eviction problem situation.
Oh, okay.
I want to erase all traces of a friend's debts or criminal convictions. It's not conviction, but like it is court proceedings that an eviction goes through and probably came from debts.
What do we that's you kind of manifesting? Do you think that's a like a supernatural thing that you're doing, or because it's the
Um,
world, does it feel like you going and pulling strings? Like, how does that happen? Or some combination of the two?
I think I don't know, because my initial idea was more going into the void, into that shard, and doing it that way. But
Yeah,
this
I
is
mean, if
World
that's the way
Advance.
if that's the way you're doing it, that's fine.
Yeah, I think in the like half ruined boardroom where the windows all busted out and there's still some remnants of the battle that took place in here. I've called together a task force of the Damplings, and I have like printouts and bank statements and lease agreements and all sorts of paperwork from her case, and I just had them laid out. Everyone's looking at different parts of it, and it's this like brainstorming legal advice session where I'm trying to yoke them hard enough into focus that they give some actual advice and help and pull some strings.
Yeah, and so Sugarhawk's mom will be yanked off of the list, which creates kind of a gap in that redistricting. So while their debts will be erased, it is a little noticeable. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
we'll play around with that, but it ends up being that we've got this big like section of red on the map with this little blue spot now.
Um, and actually, I'll push on that a little bit
Sure.
further, because my Crew Covenant city move is when you quell a crisis, you can mark a condition to pick one, and one of them is it's enticing. Someone who sees your work wants to meet you. So I think that lines up with the it's noticeable thing.
Who do you want to entice?
Oh, I know. I keep wanting to meet with Asterion. I haven't had any scenes with Asterion. She's
Okay,
all like magic star person Jim and the holograms awesomeness.
absolutely. All right, we'll bring that around on the next scene.
Cool.
Mendel, good to see you. I hope you're okay with the recording. Just wanted to check in,
Yeah, it's fine.
confirm on that. So we're doing just the first once around of actions. I'm going to do Gabriel's, and then I'll come to you, and we'll kind of if we need to frame up some stuff, we'll do that.
Sounds good.
Gabriel, what do you want to do for your first action here?
So first things first, I want to see if the skate witches have any results after having kind of sent them off to figure out what's up with the doppelganger. If not, I can do a little detective work of my own, I'm sure, but I wanted to check in with them first.
So you will head down to where the skate witches are in a parking lot that's down, that's kind of like you're surprised that there are no cars in there. And you will see that they are skating around, but they've done something to chalk the wheels on their skates. And I think you'll see that they seem to be just skating around, but you can see that they are doing patterns and sigils in the parking lot there. And one of them that you talked to last time, we have a picture of a singular skate witch in there, will see you and will roll up to where you're at. And he will say, "How is it going, Hornblower?"
I'm sorry?
Gabriel, Hornblower?
Oh, it's a reference, I guess. Yeah, things are about the same as usual, I guess. I see you guys are doing some art.
Yeah, we're practicing an art.
Um, abstract art. Lots of circles, and it doesn't look like anything.
I think you could say that it's symbolic.
Oh, interesting. Okay. Well, hey, I didn't want to distract you too much from it. I just
No.
wanted to...
You asked that you tasked us to a job, and we have found what you are looking for.
That's awesome. What's going on?
So your doppelganger has been spotted in a number of places, and it took us a bit to divine the common denominator. But he's been going to places of shopping, places of buying, and he has been relentlessly shoplifting.
Just going around taking stuff? Well, what's he using it for?
I don't know. He's not like you. He's not fully fleshed, from what we can tell. We think he's in a loop of some kind. And he is just taking stuff.
Like he's automated, like that kind of a loop?
No, like he thinks this is what he needs to do.
Like he was made for that purpose?
Now we get into areas that we don't know, but we can tell you that there is a clockwork, a pattern, and we can tell you that he'll be at Center City Mall tomorrow.
There's a predictable pattern to it.
Yes.
Interesting.
Now, he has gotten spotted a couple of times, which means you've gotten spotted a couple times.
Right.
And he has hit this mall before.
Well, I could intercept him in disguise. Maybe get one of my teammates out there with me, something like that. Do a little foot chase. We'll make it work. Hey, what do I owe you guys?
Think kindly of us.
Oh, well, I never had a problem with you to begin with. Is
No,
that
no,
all?
No. I want you to think kindly of us. When you lay yourself down tonight to sleep, and whatever passes for sleep for you, I want you to dream of us, and dream of us kindly.
Can people control what they dream about? I've never been able to do that.
You're gonna have to try.
Well, I mean, if that's all it takes, then awesome. I'll let you guys know how the interception at the mall goes.
Absolutely. Your interests and ours cross. So we will see you again.
How do they collide?
You'll find out.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, and I'll be in touch. And
Okay.
I walk away rather concerned
Okay.
about both them and about my safety. They're too cryptic.
Too cryptic for their own good there.
Yeah, well, for my own good.
So is there anything you want to read out of that scene for a move, or is there another move you want to make?
That's a good question. I'm trying to figure out if there is a way to engage the mechanics a little bit here. Because really I just checked in with them. I didn't ask much of a favor of them. I wonder if I might be able to maybe do a little bit of reconnaissance and try and prep for the interception of the doppelganger tomorrow.
Okay.
So I don't know if that would be like a read the wind thing,
That would
or
be
a rebel eyes, or
wolf at the door.
Wolf at the door to deal with a crisis. Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, let's see here. When you do what it takes to keep the wheels turning, quell a crisis, yours or someone else's, pick how you do this and what it costs. All right, so this is going to be, I think, an ask for help thing. We're going to ask some other rebels for assistance, and if one agrees, they say what they do to help out and mark a condition. What I'm trying to get a sense of is how I could be in the mall and corner this guy without having security get the drop on me and foil the whole plan before it gets up and going. So are there any other characters or PCs present who would be able to help with that, who wants to jump in and volunteer?
Any thoughts, anyone? Sherry.
Okay.
Yes, because I don't think that your reputation should be besmirched. I'm willing to protect you.
We have a reputation to uphold. We do. Okay. So maybe I could go to you and ask you to be a kind of lookout, sort of. And if anyone tries to give me any problems, like, hey, you look like so and so, are you sure you're supposed to? You can kind of jump in and cover for me. Oh no, he's with me, he's fine, that sort of thing. Because you're very charming and a good face.
I'll try.
So what condition do you want to mark there, Charlotte?
Ooh, that's a good thing. Let's see here. I think it's a little angry. I don't know. I should look at these things before I choose one.
Yes.
Right? So let's see here. What does angry do? It means that you can't do past beneath knowledge, or yeah, sure, I'll do that. I'm not trying to be sneaky.
Okay.
It's like, so I am angry that there is a situation like this. I don't really understand it. It's like it's someone who really looks like you. I mean, do you tell me about that? Or okay, so she's like, okay, so they look a lot like you. Okay.
So you will probably have to intercept at least once
Okay.
while Gabriel is there. Gabriel, you will track back until you find the path of your doppelganger at what is the name of the clothing shop store here that you find them at?
Oh my gosh. I want to come up with some stupid fun pun name, but nothing comes to mind right now. Would you maybe like to come back to me and I'll think of something, or should we just go with a name now?
Just go with a name now. We're gonna like this is still your move because
Okay.
so I want to resolve that out.
So maybe if we're going with the sort of Eastern techie kind of overlap between that hemisphere and our city, maybe it's like a Uniqlo or like a Uniqlo or something along those lines.
Okay.
Just sort of a clothing outlet that has sort of a Japanese origin, something like that.
Oh yeah, it's got lots of tchotchkes and stuff that appeals to people who are actually interested in that stuff, and to weebos at the same time, but also some very nice clothing and such. And I think we see you winding your way through here until you get back to the changing room. And you can see the wet footsteps that go into the furthest back changing room. Curtain is drawn.
It's difficult because do I want to confront this person in a dressing room? That will doom us both. So yes, yeah, I think that's gonna be the choice we're gonna make. I'm gonna stroll that way, and I don't think that in the non-castle environment I have quite enough confidence to charge in there guns blazing. So I'm gonna look a little bit creepy and voyeuristic.
Okay.
Not intentionally so, but it just comes off that way.
And there's that moment we get a hold of that curtain and you will pull it back. And the thing that kind of bugs you, I think, is when you see this doppelganger is, yeah, they sort of look like you, but it's not perfect. Like you're actually kind of bothered by how kind of off it is. And they turn and they look at you, and you can see they've got some clothes there, and they've got a bag, and they just look at you. Deer in the headlights eyes.
Stay put. Do they do anything when I say that?
They kind of can feel like the tides are moving them now a little bit.
If If they look like they're about to make a break for it, I will try to intercept them physically. But barring that, I'm going to step in and pull the curtain shut behind both of us.
They just look at you.
Can you talk?
Ah. And the voice kind of comes out. You're not sure that anyone else could understand what they say, because it almost sounds like a whale from underneath the waves, and kind of a yes.
The castle made you.
You made me.
I didn't make you, not knowingly anyway.
You went in the water. You were troubled. I'm here to
Well,
help you. I'm going to find the right human clothing that will make everything right for you. You'll have the mask, you'll have the face, you'll have the clothing then.
no, I don't need any help. Not from you. You're not. You're just like I used to be. I'm trying to get away from things like you. You shouldn't even exist.
See it stop, and it goes, if I shouldn't exist, then why should you? And it turns to water, and you just see this splash of water as it loses its essence, and you're in this wet, salt water filled changing room.
Like submerged.
Like it's gone. Like when he vanishes, he turns into water and just
Oh, okay.
splashes.
What the hell? And I kind of look around and like to see if anyone else noticed.
There's probably somebody who you hear, is everything all right?
Yeah, thank you. And then I go back to my grizzled, hard-boiled, what the hell kind of inner monologue. But there's the cut back to the being a high school student.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's gone. You have quelled this crisis for the moment. Do you
Yeah,
think
for the
his
moment.
words stay with you, or are you rejecting them?
His words?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Like if he isn't supposed to belong, why should you belong?
well, yeah, it gets in my head. The only difference is he seems to know what created him. I don't really know what created me. I
Hmm.
mean, other than the castle, but I don't.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to cut away from you. Pam. So we have the situation with this city redistricting woman who's been doing the stuff. You found out that there's a supernatural element to it. And there was a threat to Sugarhawk's mom,
Right.
but
Yeah.
Sasha
No.
has taken care of that.
Yeah, I knew about that.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what is it that you would like to do here for your first action?
Well, since there is a since there seems to be possibly a new vassal, I want to just try to clear my plate so I can focus on dealing with that. So
Absolutely. What is your crisis?
my crisis is being stalked.
Okay.
So I'm going to so I'm going to try to find the dog.
Okay.
With rebel eyes.
All right. Well, here's the thing is, if your intent is to quell the crisis, if that's your action,
No.
then, okay. Okay. Then, let's have you go ahead and, roll with heat.
Okay. Right, and I have disadvantage because my crisis is on heat.
Yeah.
So All right, that is a miss.
That is a miss. Now, you do have an opportunity when you miss to evoke a covenant. Do you wish to do that or let that pass?
What does evoking covenant do in this case? That would just let me re-roll one of the dice, right?
Mhm.
It doesn't seem worth doing.
Yeah, it seems a little dangerous with the disadvantage there.
Mhm.
So you will go looking for the dog and remind me, give me again the setup on the dog again.
So that was the job I was on from before. So it's trying to remember what details we had on the dog, but I believe it was a curious breed of dog. We declared it before, but I don't remember what it was because I didn't write it down. And I don't think I came up with it myself. I think someone else suggested it. So that's also probably why I don't remember.
You are tracking back
Mhm.
on this.
There was a whole
dog.
thing at a dog show
Yeah.
that I was working with Sugarhawk on. But that didn't turn out to be a good outcome.
So you will try to run this down.
Mhm.
And I think there is a point in which, because you are a PI, we find you going over a fence
Mhm.
At a location where you heard there were maybe somebody who was doing some dog breeding
Mhm.
or things like that. And what is it that goes terribly wrong there?
Okay. Well, so I mean, there are several options. It could involve getting attacked by the stalker. It could involve being attacked by the dog breeders. It could involve getting injured in the attempt to get in or out.
Let me play with the first thing you said.
Okay.
I think you're over the fence. You're
Mhm.
on this private property.
Mhm.
And that's the point at which the pair of flashlights lights out, hits
Mhm.
you in the face, and you will see a couple of cops there.
Mhm.
And they're like, turn around, put your hands on that car, assume the position.
Mhm.
And they will come over and pat you down.
Mhm.
And they will pull out your wallet. Now, you are, if I recall correctly, not a licensed private investigator.
That is correct.
So they say, we had a tip that somebody was been doing break-in here on this property. You want to tell us what you're doing here?
I will probably be very concise and say I'm looking for a dog that I think got over the fence.
Mm-hmm. It's a little
And
convenient.
shut the heck up.
Okay. And I think that's the thing. You shut the heck up. They keep pushing you. And eventually there is that moment where they're like, okay, put the cuffs on her. And they take you and they throw you back in a squad car and they treat you like shit for the next 8 hours.
Okay.
It is in the back of that squad car. They fingerprint you, they take your photo. The thing that is like they don't have anything on you.
Right. Or at least they don't have much worth having.
Right. So this is them being unpleasant.
Right.
And I think you're going to mark infamy.
Oh, okay.
As they take your picture, they spread it out. A detective comes in and checks on your story about the dog, and then cautions you that in future you should really, if you see something like that, call a police officer rather than taking it on yourself to go over a fence at night into somebody's property. We're going to keep your name and fingerprints on file, just so you know.
Sure, they already have them.
Yeah, so you kind of walk out of there.
Mhm.
Someone set you up, someone dropped you a lead,
Mhm.
and put you right in the square in the sights of the cops.
Okay.
Let's take our first break here.
Okay.
We'll come back. We'll maybe do a group meet and then a second action. Okay. So let's take our first, which will be 10. Sherry, tell me something about the restaurant / cafe, whatever, that is probably just so we have a symbolic in the background, is close to sort of the city administrative offices that you're there to meet and chat.
Oh, it is a Vietnamese lunch place that like their big thing are the banh mi.
Mm-hmm.
And they literally, like, when you go in, there are already these stacks of banh mi, like from people who have been calling in orders since 8 a.m. to have them delivered. And they're just like great stacks of banh mi all the way up there. And you have to shout out your name and they like throw the package towards you. And, like a lot of businesses down there have an account with them. So you get a lot of people just shouting out what the business name is. And if they recognize you, then they'll do it. Otherwise, they make you show the card.
Yeah. Delivery people coming and going fast.
Exactly.
That the people who actually are coming in for ordering are clearly they are the lowest tier of the poll for them. But you've known enough to call ahead. So sandwiches have been tossed to all of you, and you can go back outside into the sunny California weather to sit and eat your sandwiches. Sasha, what do you want to share with the group?
I think he's sort of talking about the sad, like, beat up state of that community center that he was in, so that he can spend a while talking about Leslie without talking about Leslie.
Okay. Is it obvious that you're talking around him?
No, it is completely and totally hidden. It's very obvious. It's so obvious.
Have
And
you seen Leslie lately?
Well, actually, it's funny. He was there at the community center. I was there. It was an event that he was running. It was like really an interesting way to reach out to the community and go on in great detail about all the great works that Leslie was doing that day.
Excellent.
And Gabriel, are like, Charlotte was with you when all that went down. What have you shared with Charlotte? What are you sharing with the group about this doppelganger, if anything?
I'll give them the full story. I've been tracking a doppelganger, which I thought was something created kind of budding off from the castle. But when I finally got him cornered, he said that I made him. Something about me entering the water, something. He doesn't seem to have ill intent, but I don't know. I don't think he's like us.
Well, you said you made him. Is he not like you then?
He looks vaguely like me. I could see him passing for me, but he acts with this almost alien sort of intelligence about him. He doesn't communicate or express emotion in the way that humans do. It's almost kind of like he's all the parts of me that I've tried to get away from.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, if I can get rid of him, I will.
And Pam, what are you sharing with the group?
Well, and first of all, I'm gonna arrive probably about 10 minutes into, or 10 to 15 minutes late, coming from the bathroom. And looking pretty more bedraggled than usual. In fact, probably I'll be explaining that I spent the night in the custody of Ocean's Finest, in case Sasha is concerned that I was not staying at the apartment.
Why didn't you call?
Oh, you know that whole one phone call thing, it doesn't actually apply, right? It's one phone call when they feel like it. Yeah, they just never felt like it.
Are you in trouble? Do you need a lawyer?
No, they didn't really have anything to hold me on. They're just being their finest selves. I mean, I wouldn't have gotten out this morning if they had anything.
Okay.
So, yeah, apparently someone's been trailing me.
What's been trailing you? Do you know what?
Oh, I don't know
about?
yet.
Oh, you're not sure. Okay.
And so Charlotte, what are you sharing with the group about what you have found out or been working on?
I will tell them when I went down to the beach and I talked to the people who are doing the work. It looks like they have like all the funding they need and the instructions to do about 2.5 weeks of testing and stuff down there, even though nothing is particularly obvious, and the plates that came in were very mundane Karen type things. And she sort of stops and she goes, and like they're going to do it, and apparently someone was gonna buy the property to make it free to public use, and this has stopped that. Maybe dissuaded them from it. I think we should see if we can figure out who it was that was gonna buy the property to make it public. Ask them to hold on. I don't even know how you go about finding that out.
Sure, I guess we need an in the city offices.
Who do I know who might know someone? I'll ask my dad.
Think he'd know something?
No, but he'd know someone who would know something.
As good a place to start as any.
Yeah, doesn't do the big like city civic suits. That's not his thing. Nor is he a property lawyer. So
Anything else anybody wants to put forward to the group about directions or things we're on, or should we split back up into second actions? Okay.
We can split up.
Okay. Then let's swing back to you, Charlotte, to start us out. For your second action, you can do a city action or a rebel action.
okay, I think. Ooh, just try a rebel action. So, and that's like what Rebel Eyes is the big. isn't
Rebel
it?
Eyes is the big, like doing more direct investigations of things. Trying to locate where the vassal's shard is, or tracking things down. What do you want to do? What's your intent?
I think my intent is very kind of like to follow up after talking to my dad with someone who can help me figure out who was going to buy the property, and then who ordered who pushed that investigation up.
Okay. So then that definitely feels like Rebel Eyes.
Okay.
Kind of the generic montage of you checking on those things, unless you have a covenant move that would supersede
Better
that.
for that. I don't think I do.
Okay.
Let's see here.
You have a set of covenant cards there to look through.
I do. If only I had the light on in my office, but I don't. Oh, if I help someone in need, I can gain surveillance though. So that is always a thing.
Okay.
Let's see here. And then, yeah.
So, all right. So when you roll Rebel Eyes, you're going to roll and against heat.
Against heat. Okay, so my heat is actually 2.
Okay.
And I don't add anything to that, right?
Nope. You just roll and we check against a 2 on each of those dice.
Okay. I got 2 successes. I got a 6 and a 4.
That is a strong hit. So I think that this requires quite a bit of asking around.
Mhm.
So I think that in order to get the answers that you want, you're going to have to put a tick in either your infamy or heat.
So heat is for regular life, and infamy is for infamy is for regular life, and heat is for the castle getting aware of me, right?
They both function for city moves.
Right, but I mean, it is of who it is supposedly that is more aware of you. I guess I'll do heat.
Okay. I guess what I'll say is, so heat is used for Rebel Eyes.
Oh,
Infamy is used for pass beneath notice. Heat and infamy are both used for connect.
okay, I'll try infamy because that is my classic. So I'll
Okay.
take a tick on that.
All right. So it's a pattern of talking to people and finding out the person that they don't want to talk about, that they avoid talking about, that kind of comes around, and the little slip of a name and asking around until you get finally like the name of the vassal, this Carla Moreau. And you can even like see her office, like you get out onto the floor of that, and it's a public space there. This is one of the things that City of Ocean prides itself on, is being a 24-hour civil service kind of thing. So the people that have night offices and things, so people can come and go in this building all hours of the day. And when you get out onto this floor, you can feel close to the other side. Like you can feel that this is her domain. You can feel the echoes of the shard there. And when you finally kind of look at the paperwork, there's a line on all of it eventually that leads to this Carla Moreau.
Okay, it's Moreau.
Yeah.
Not Monroe.
Moreau, Moreau. Does that sound like a fair bit of info there?
Yep.
Okay. And so one of the things about the shard, and there is an entryway, and one of the things that the book says is the entryway is always easy to find for you. So what is the entryway here?
Um,
Was a restroom last time. So
Right.
what is it this time?
I think there is a display that was made of the city back when this was built. Not a mural, but like it's like in glass and it has like all of the sort of like it's like the map, but it's very abstract. But the thing is it's like it hasn't been updated, so the city's changed quite a bit, and it's like sort of weirdly out there and lit, but you can go behind it and no one ever does. And if you go back there, that's like it's like the place that feels very liminal.
Yeah, you can feel that it would take you no effort to step through once you step behind there into the, this kind of yellowed area, maybe some cigarette butts left there from people hiding a smoke and some
Yeah,
grit and
a
grime.
plant that is supposed to be out there, but it started to die, so someone's pushed it back here, so no one will see the dying plant.
Yeah.
That someone dumped a soda into or something. Yeah.
So you will find that. Sasha,
Yes.
when did you arrive at this club? It's just a little disconcerting. You kind of think to yourself and you hear this sing-song voice, smoky, which is unusual because there's no smoking. There's not even grandfathered in smoking places here in City of Ocean. You can tell it's that, and you will see this sort of purple and blue lighting glowing off of this figure up on the stage, and you see her kind of turn and finish out the song and point at you, and then kind of lope off of the stage and comes over to sit at your table.
Um,
What are you drinking, Sasha?
uh, and he looks down at his hand at the mostly empty glass, sniffs a bourbon. Bourbon, it looks like.
And she'll gesture, and this shape comes over, shaped like a waiter, and there's a pouring motion, and then your glass is filled.
All right, this is new. Um, I did not catch the name of this club on the way in. So embarrassing.
It does seem like an embarrassment that you wouldn't have noticed that, but I forgive you.
That's kind.
I am Asteria.
Oh, do you know Gabriel?
I know Gabriel very well.
Then you're the hysteria that Gabriel's talked about in your club. This is your club. This is your hysteria.
Did he say nice things?
He said very nice things.
Then
Only
yes,
nice
I am
things.
that Asteria.
Well, I'm fairly sure it's nice to meet you.
You're fairly sure? That sounds like a degree of hesitation that unbecomes you.
I'll admit things have been stressful recently, and I'm having some trouble adjusting to the way things work now.
You help people.
I do what I can.
You helped Mrs. Sugarhawk.
Well, I mean, have you seen him when he's sad? He gets these like puppy dog eyes. I swear he can cry on command.
That's good. That's good. That's good. You did that. And it is appreciated, for she is one of my beloved.
Good.
So what can I do for you to repay you for your generosity?
For me,
Yes, you.
do you know anything about the castle?
Do you mean the castle, or do you mean the shard of the vassal? Which do you mean? Because I have always lived in a castle.
Well, a shard at least.
Mhm.
Well, and I've sort of been holding open the last shard that we found.
I know. That's a very naughty thing to do.
Well, I figured it would be good to at least be in on the group memos if people are going to be hunting us across dimensions.
Hmm. That's an interesting way to think about that. Do you think that's what's happening? Do you think people are hunting you?
Well, people keep targeting everyone around us.
Maybe it's just the world is unpleasant.
The world, it's not the world that's targeting people, it's people that are targeting people. You can stop a person.
There is one that serves this vassal who is the person who sets up those barriers to keep people out. He is called the Surveyor. And I will put a little thread in your mind that should help you find him. Because unlike the ones you've confronted before, he operates out in the real world.
Thank you. That helps a lot.
Yes, it does, because I am generous and powerful and beautiful and beneficent.
You know, I believe I've heard Gabriel say that exact sentence.
It would have been better if you'd simply agreed and said, yes, yes, you are. But I'll take that.
Right. I'm sorry. It's
No,
the
no, you just
drink.
don't know any better.
Do you know if I drove here?
No, I think you fell here. And then you'll find yourself falling, that sensation of falling. And when you fall in your dream and you wake up
Mm-hmm.
and kind of come to coming out of that dream. Does that feel like a decent thing? You can make them a minor covenant if you want.
Yeah, I like that.
Okay.
Appropriately weird introduction to her.
Yeah. Gabriel, let's come to you. You've quelled your crisis. It's not imminent. You've taken care of that. You've learned some information. What do you want to do?
So I can see this going a couple ways. If the crisis is not something that really makes sense for me to be dealing with right now,
Mhm.
I could see myself trying to pick up a, kind of like we just saw in the last scene, kind of a way to get at the vassal or to
Mhm.
learn more information about them. Alternatively, if it makes sense to follow up on the doppelganger crisis, I have ideas as to how to do that. I'm
Well,
just not sure mechanically if that's what you're kind of expected to do once the crisis is quelled.
so I think once the crisis is quelled, it gets set aside. It's still hovering there and could, as a hard move, get brought back. But for the moment, I don't think you have to mechanically engage that. That's my sense of it.
Okay.
Unless you want to utilize it for some other purpose.
It's tricky. I mean, I want to jump in on getting the vassal tracked
Okay.
down
Well,
because
we've
I think
got,
that's
yeah, we've got Read the Wind, we've got Rebel Eyes, we've got, and if you have any of your Covenant moves that might be appropriate.
I'm looking for maybe Rebel Eyes. The beauty of that is that I think I might have disadvantage on that roll.
Okay.
Which would be good fun because I'm checking that with heat and I forget how it happened, but I have a tick on heat that is under like it says dis on the character keeper.
If you have an imminent crisis, then the gauge that it's tied to, you have ongoing
That's
disadvantage.
it.
So that is
I've quelled
cleared.
that.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Good deal. So in that case, we're just rolling with regular rolled heat, which I think is okay. And that's 2d6, I think you said.
Yep.
And we're targeting we're trying to get a 4+ if I
4
have 3
plus
ticks.
on, yep.
Okay. Good. That's just a good old hit.
Strong hit. So tell me what it is you're doing and what is it you kind of want to know. Let's play with the fiction of that.
Well, I mean, what I want to know, and I'm trying to think of stuff that I don't think has already been answered. I'm trying to know how to maybe get into the is it called the shards, the place where the vassal is located?
Yeah.
Have we clarified that exactly?
Exactly. Yeah, the map that Charlotte found is the entryway to that space there.
Okay.
That seems to be that sort of her like level that Moreau works on is the sort of liminal space, and then that map that's on that floor is that. Because of course it's open kind of 24 hours, there's people going in this civic building, it is always accessible to people.
Okay. Maybe then I am trying to learn what sort of defenses or vulnerabilities the shard might possess.
Interesting.
Kind of ways we could protect ourselves or infiltrate.
So do you think you're diving into the darkness?
Yeah. I feel like that's something I'm kind of naturally made to do given
Okay.
my inhumanity. So I think
Okay.
that could be a way to play it.
Well, we've already got your Rebel Eyes here, and we already rolled a strong hit, so I don't want to throw that away. So let's think of how we want to roll that. How about essentially this kind of represents you exploring that floor and running along the edges of that realm, because you have the ability to move between the liminal realms, right?
I
Isn't that one of your strengths, one of your moves?
I have the psychopomp move,
Yeah.
which when traveling the labyrinth, I can kind of jump around
Yeah.
to different places.
So let's work that. We're not going to do the actual move, but we're going to kind of work that into the fiction. I think we see you like moving around the space that's outside of this shard. And I think you will find it very sympathetic with you, as you can see that it is a watery realm. And I think as you kind of swim on the outskirts of it, you will see shadowy forms of sharks, and you will see other large shadows of Leviathan-like cetaceans, and you will see this coral city under the water done in full Greco-Roman pseudo ancient world. You can tell that this is a literal castle in the shard, and this is her vision of Atlantis. And you can tell that she is the queen of this ocean realm. Does that seem useful? Tell me what you want to know from this.
Well, yeah, I mean, if we're talking about defenses and vulnerabilities, I think sharks is one thing that comes to mind in terms of possible defenses. Any particular points of entry or weaknesses or unsurveyed areas that we could sneak through, that kind of thing?
Yeah, let's say that, and we'll have the sort of net result of this is we'll give you, if you lead the group going in to the labyrinth, when you do, we'll give you advantage on that roll. And I think you will explore, because you more than other people recognize that these realms bleed into other places. What is the adjoining? It's not fully formed. It's not like a realm like she has, but what's the adjoining imaginative space? And what do you find there as a connecting point?
And it's a imaginative space?
Yeah, because all of these shards are kind of in the imagination of people, but empowered through their obsessions and so on. There will be other people's imaginative and dream space for strong dreamers that will be nearby. You walk into one of those, you move into one of those, and it kind of it runs up against her realm.
And this is another vassal you're describing?
No, it's not another vassal, it's just another person, a strong dreamer. Who is this strong dreamer? What do you find in their dream that gives you an entry point?
Could it be the oceanographer dreaming of Charlotte?
Oh yeah. And that's the thing, is it doesn't have to be in space, it's a metaphorical space. So because he's attached, because he's in her network, his realm is adjacent. And I do think you see this person, and you see a version of Charlotte there, and it's not any kind of like physical attraction, but it's like having a person that this oceanographer can lecture to and teach and explain all these things. So what's in the landscape here, and what's in the landscape that you can use to breach Moreau's shard?
Now he's an oceanographer. Does he have some kind of submersible craft?
You tell me. What do we see?
That sounds pretty neat.
Okay. So we see like a submersible vessel. It looks very much like the ship from Atlantis, the Lost Empire, the Don Bluth one, very steampunky kind of looking. You can tell this person has watched that movie many times, and I think you will find that because of the way it kind of moves through the water, that you know that you could use this to step off into Moreau's realm. Does that sound fair?
Yep, that sounds good.
Awesome. Charlotte's in a little uniform, like the Atlantis Lost Empire uniforms and stuff, and looks very cartoony. Pam, let's circle back to you.
Okay.
You've had this encounter, you've talked to your friends.
Mhm.
What are you doing next?
So I think I need to at least figure out who my tail is. So if that seems like a reasonable thing to turn into wolf at the door, I can do that, or
Yeah.
I can just read the wind.
Yeah, you want to quell this crisis. So of the three ways that we have there, what is the way that you want to approach quelling this?
Well, I don't want my stalker to know more about my friends. So I really don't want to get them involved.
Okay, so
If I can
are you
help
doing
it.
it on your own, or are you
Yeah,
calling
so
in
I
an
kind of have to
NPC?
do it on my own.
Okay. So what is the condition you want to mark? And tell me what that process is for you to
Sure.
like doubling back on this guy.
Right. Well, so I mean, the first part of it is I'm marking callous.
Okay.
So the first part of it is probably how to catch a trail, which is involved process of double backing and otherwise, just causing someone who's trying to follow you to expose themselves. I don't have a car, so that makes it a little harder, but not that much harder. I can just duck into places and see who comes by.
But they've clearly been surveying you, so
Mm-hmm.
they're kind of on the same level as you.
Mm-hmm.
Where is it that you think that you like get the jump on them?
I mean, honestly, it's probably in a lower end market district or market street where there's like bodegas and other other like just like pawn shops and whatnot there. The kind of places that you can duck into and hide pretty easily, and then see out the window to see what's going on. So a few of those to figure out where he is, and then a polite word with an owner to let me slip out the back so I can circle around and catch him while he's waiting.
And there's a guy, he's got this windbreaker on.
Mm-hmm.
He's shaved his head,
Mm.
but like no one has told him that his skull is not made for that. Like
Mm-hmm.
it is distinctly not a good look on this guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a phone and some other equipment that he's looking at, and I think you kind of move, and I think that's a moment that you like look and it takes like think back, and you think back to maybe a year ago
Mhm.
when you did kind of a divorce slash getting a person out of a abusive relationship job.
Oh, actually, he was the client.
Okay.
He was the client. He hired. It's the
Oh, that's right. It's the other way around. It's that he got you to try and prove.
something that wasn't true.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you see him, he's shaved his head since then.
Right.
You can tell like he was dressed a little more nicely back then. You
Mhm.
can tell this is taking a toll on him. And he is looking around now, trying to catch, and you see him now kind of pulling up stuff, and you think he might be trying to kind of trace ping your phone.
Mm.
What do you do? How do you
Um,
confront him?
Well, I'm probably going to come around behind him and go, "Hey, Jim."
And of course he startles.
Right.
And he kind of turns and looks at you and takes a step back.
So, what you doing?
See him look around. Are you in a public space, private
We're
space?
probably. I mean, wherever he chose to hole up.
Yeah, I know this is you. This is your narrating. So
Oh, okay.
tell me
Yeah.
where we spot.
I was probably at the entrance to an alley.
Okay.
Yeah, where he's kind of ducked behind the corner a little bit.
He says, "Hey, long time no see."
You know, I know I shouldn't accuse you of anything you're not actually doing, but you do know that.
Don't want to accuse me if you don't have any proof.
Jim, you remember way back when I was working for you
I
that
remember.
you wanted me to find evidence of someone getting up to something. And
Yeah,
I
you-
did find a hotel on your credit card, and I did track, I did take pictures. Those pictures, you know, I haven't done anything with them because, well, those pictures weren't going to help your case. But if for some reason we no longer have an amiable client, you know, detective relationship, then I will no longer have a moral reason for those pictures to stay locked up.
What do you do when his hand goes in his jacket?
I'm going to stand there because I'm close enough that it's probably better for me not to run,
Okay.
at least depending on what he pulls out.
And he swings out, and you can see he's got a taser. You can see he's got a taser. You can see he's got a kit. When you get a second where you kind of look, you see he's got a bag. You can see he's got duct tape in it. And how do you, I mean, do you hit him? Do you disarm him? Do you smack it away? Like what do you do to stop him? Because you've already marked the condition, so you were successful here. So what does that look like?
So I think that he's bigger than me. He's lunging at me. He's basically still physically in the alley. So I'm going to shift so that he's got to lunge at me in the alley, which gives him no room to maneuver. So he kind of gets over himself, and I can sort of gooseneck his arm with the taser so that the taser goes into his side.
Okay.
Which shocks me a little bit too, because that's just how that works. But,
but he takes the brunt of that.
Yeah.
What is it you say to him to convince him that this is not a course he should be following?
No, besides the blackmail, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he's clearly a little bit to over the edged.
Right.
What do you say?
Trying to think of what.
Yeah, because you've got marked callous, so I want to give you the opportunity to play that up if you want.
Well, I mean,
or pull back.
Yeah,
you zotched him hard. He's taken that hit. He's in your arms. You have control of his arm. You know, it would be nothing for you to smash his face against that brick wall. It'd be nothing for you to make a physical point to him.
I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to take, because I'm assuming he's operating stuff out of his phone, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to take that phone out. I'm going to start the factory delete on his phone. I don't know, the taser, whether I should destroy the taser or not, but in any case, I will do that, and then I will bend over him and going, I like to think of this as a clean slate. I'm giving you a chance to just leave this all alone.
Nice. Drop the phone.
Yep.
It's cleaned as well. Do you keep the taser? Do you drop it somewhere?
Is there? I will probably take the taser just because I'm even with the legality question on it. It's probably fine to carry a taser in the city.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, um, yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
So you will do that. You'll be able to get that set and get him off your back. Your crisis is quelled.
Mhm.
Mechanically, let's go ahead and take our 5-minute break here. We'll continue on and we'll come back on another day. Okay. Starting again with Charlotte. It is another day. So I'm going to mark another tick on our moves here for the third tick on the vassal. Charlotte, we're back to you. You have some information. You've located the place, so you know how to enter in, and so what would you like to do?
So let's um is there something where you could like of the different moves that we need to make to get ready for it, where is it listed, like the things that help you in the castle? Is that in the one of the castle moves when you're going to take things on?
Yeah, so if you go to the castle moves, and I find the
E53.
yeah, it's the Emperor's New Clothes.
Oh, there it is. Yes, at the very bottom. Okay, good. Okay.
So I think right now
Yes.
you have, of those, probably have the full details of what they're planning, because you've been pulling together all of the areas that they are pushing people out of.
Okay. I think one of the things then is we know that there was the buyer for that beach that was to do that.
Mhm.
I think it makes sense for me to sort of approach that. I'm going to see if I can work on creating some organized resistance to the vassal among the city's people,
Okay.
if that makes any sense.
Oh, that makes perfect sense.
So, because we know there was a buyer, we know that the stuff happening down at the docks is going on. So I've got some different people who have like an interest in having it and going, who are the people that would be their defenders, so to speak.
Absolutely. So do you have any of your covenant moves that are appropriate to this, or does it feel like you're going to find out who the buyer is and try to like confront them?
Confront the buyer, I think you mean to speak with them and tell them like what's going on.
It could be that too.
Yeah, so let's see here. So of my moves, I think, let's see here. I mean, when I help someone in need, but I'm not helping anyone in need, I'm helping someone who is trying to do something and it's frustrated, who was frustrated by it and is thinking of maybe not doing what they wanted to do that would have been a public good. So I don't think I have a move, so I guess I would do whatever move it is.
Okay.
So, and is that confront? It's essentially reaching out to these people to get them to recognize that they have someone who's actually literally the one who's putting things in their way.
So make a stand is to get their attention
Okay.
and make a point. A connect is to get info or a favor. So there's kind of a difference between like kind of figuring them out, manipulating them a little, versus like trying to make them aware of a situation.
Check against blood. And then the other one is,
You have a choice on connect.
on Connect.
Do you have any conditions
Yeah.
marked, or are you all clear? You're all
I
clear.
just
aren't
have
you?
angry.
Okay. So,
So
and
I
angry only affects dodge and pass beneath notice. Okay. So how do you want to play this?
I guess I could try it with Connect.
Okay.
So
Uh,
sorry.
so give me a name for this buyer.
Oh, let's see here. We think that it's probably one of the older families for city of Ocean.
Okay.
Maybe one of the guys that was like that that like was really did the all of the public transport and like has, you know, that sort of stuff, like that was his company that designed and built most of that, like his engineering firm back in the day, or it was his father's or something like that. And that's the money he comes from and
Okay.
sort of his civic location. And he has
So-
been looking at doing more things to put his money on other than just those trains in some ways.
So Michael Throne is
I know that name, Lowell.
is the like scion heir apparent for Throne Industries.
Mhm.
And he is, when you go and check, he's clearly the one who you knew there was a buyer. Wasn't anything to any difficulty to follow that back from the information that you had. So the trick is going to be, let's see here, is getting in to see him. What is your methodology here?
I want to make the vassal's threat clear.
Okay. Then tell me in the fiction, how do you get an audience, a meeting, a chance for a conversation with this highly placed executive?
Oh, that's an interesting question.
Like who do you leverage to do this, I guess, or what do you do to get in his way?
Well, I am a diplomat, or you know, essentially one of the volunteers for the agency. I mean, for the trains
Subway?
and everything, the subway, right? So I think that I take advantage of, they have like weekly orientations, but you can also go on them again of the whole thing where you're actually in those offices, and he always stops to have a chat with the newest ambassadors. So I kind of go along, like,
Okay.
you know, I'm helping the woman who's doing the orientation to bring the new newbies along and stuff like that. So I like say, oh, I'll help you to go do that, because it's like, you know, it's just another person who's making sure no one drifts off and that kind of
And there is a moment when the people are gathered together, when Michael Throne comes out. This is clearly, he does the same speech that you heard 6 months ago when you did orientation. He comes out, so good to see everybody. Really pleased to have you here. You're a really important part of the work here we do in the city. That's just so gosh darn important to us. So I just want to thank you. You really are the future of City of Ocean. And I look forward, maybe I'll run into one of you when I take the subway, as I do every once in a while. And then he does that thing where he kind of finishes up. He says hello to a couple of people, and then it does that like move off. I've done this. Now I've got some other things to do, kind of thing. How do you?
And I just sort of said that I understand that you were making some motions to purchase the Blau Beach, whatever, I forget what the beach is called. Do that? Is that correct?
I don't think we established a beach. What do you want to call it? Yeah. What do you want to call it?
How about Third Cove?
Third Cove.
Like, yeah.
He narrows his eyes. This isn't necessarily something that someone of your age should know or be interested in. He says, I was doing some exploratory things. Who are you?
Because my name is Charlotte Laurent, and she goes, the thing is that that's one of the beaches.
You're not an environmental activist, are you?
And she goes, I want to be an oceanographer when I grow up, but I wouldn't call myself an environmental activist per se.
Uh-huh.
And she sort of stops and she goes, I do know that an ecological survey is what has how is it, slowed down any negotiations on that. And she goes, I went to talk to the oceanographers out there, and they had a very strange set of requests. And I will actually like very quickly go,
Let's
someone, you
let's
know,
pause you there.
okay,
Let's have you roll heat.
all right, gonna roll heat.
Here's where it all goes terribly wrong.
I know. I'm gonna roll 2d6 and pray that I roll higher than 2. I rolled a 5. As you can use a covenant somehow to try to re-roll that 1.
Yeah, if you want to fade one of your covenants, you can re-roll that 1.
Okay, how about okay, I'm gonna fade Asteria because she's kind of like magically
Mhm.
but she's also like a super stressor adult for me, so it kind of makes sense. This is a different stressing
Sure.
adult, so I'm going to roll a different 1d6. So
Okay.
um I got a 3.
So
I get a
use a
strong hit.
strong hit. And he says, okay, go on. Tell me what he stops, puts his full attention on you. Okay. Tell me what you know.
And I say, I was speaking to them, and they actually said to me, and I just was asking as a high school student, that the request was very strange. And she sort of leans in and kind of gives this thing of, it's like 2.5 weeks worth of tests to be done because the complaints that had come in wouldn't have warranted it. So someone actually pushed on it and said, and this all started after you started making the moves to buy the land. I tracked it down. And she kind of goes, it's all coming from this office. It just seems like a very odd choice, but they're doing a bunch of things right now. So I'm not sure what's going on. But certainly your thing to buy the beach would have been pretty much a complete and absolute win for all the cities. So it seems very strange.
On a strong hit, you get to pick one of those things there. Tell me what you want to pick, and then I'll roll out the fiction here.
They reveal far more than they normally would.
Stops and he says, so I'm going to say some things, and if I'm ever asked, did I say these things to you, I'm going to deny them. We have an understanding.
Mm-hmm.
This is not the first time that this name has come up, Moreau's name, in crossing my path. And I had been not paying nearly as much attention, but this feels more deliberate than accidental at this point. I think that you should be careful who you talk to about Miss Moreau. But, and you see him pause and he says, I can't necessarily do anything beyond like pushing back on what you've told me a little bit. I couldn't, for example, move to, like, maybe drag her son into things. That would be kind of like unethical for me. His son's about your age.
It's cool if she comes in.
But I just saying.
It's like,
Do you have a card? Or is that too old school for me to ask?
Yes, I do have a card because I'm an ambassador. And
Why'd you-
she
Why don't we
can-
exchange cards?
All right. I will take the card.
And he will hand his card to you.
He said, this is my second card that I
Yes. Got the little holders with it now.
exactly. I had to go out and buy one. So.
Yeah. Sasha, what are you up to on this first action?
So I want to follow up with what Asteria shared with me.
Okay.
She was impressive, and I feel the need to impress her. So that was the surveyor, and she gave me a sense of where to look, and I want to do a stupid cascade of moves.
Absolutely. You are going to try
So-
and find and confront an enforcer in the real world. Let's start with your first stupid move.
So the general structure of it is Amira, the sage, gives me access to an exclusive group. When I use my membership in that group to open doors, gain advantage on any infamy check.
Okay.
And I'd like to try and stalk him and pass beneath notice, because my vagabond from Sugarhawk gives me, when you stake out a target, any hit on pass beneath notice gives you fleeting advantage on Rebel Eyes. Because I'd like to use Rebel Eyes to look into his motivations, because if I know his motivations, then I can whisper a seditious secret to him and try and change what he's doing. And then, I don't know, something else will probably happen after that.
So let's break that into two moves. One of the moves being the kind of pass beneath notice to like whisper in his ear. And what do you want the other one to be that's like leads up to that we roll?
Well, pass beneath notice I want to use to get close enough to use Rebel Eyes on it.
Okay. Then let's do those two steps. Let's do that dance.
And so I would reach out to Amira
Okay.
and say, like, all I've got is this vague name, the Surveyor, and I know an area in the city they've been recently. Do you know anyone that's heard of them? Do you know any sort of connection? And I want them to use their network to find me that connection.
Let's have you make that roll then.
All right.
Are you taking advantage on this roll? I can't remember if you said that.
Yes. So,
Okay.
Using the membership to open doors, gain advantage on any infamy check, which a pass beneath notice is an
Yeah.
infamy.
Gain advantage. Roll with infamy.
Just somewhere my dangerous. Okay. Infamy is 3. So, 3 dice. I'm going to roll them. I'll ignore the 1 in favor of a 2.
So that's one
which
hit.
doesn't really help. That's a weak hit.
It's a weak hit. Do you want to fade a covenant?
Let me see. What does the weak hit on that do? Pick 2. I really would like to try and roll that again.
Okay.
I'm going to fade my crew covenant a second
Okay.
time. Lose my magician abilities. But I am going to re-roll that 1 to another 2.
Okay. So this is path beneath notice. You're trying to get close to this thing to be able to act with Rebel Eyes, and you wanted to act with Rebel Eyes with advantage, right? That's what you're aiming for.
Which any hit on this gives me advantage towards Rebel Eyes, so
Okay.
there's that at least.
So,
Definitely choosing someone notices you, they'll keep their eye out later, but
okay.
not the guy, obviously.
Uh,
Then I don't know what. Which one leaves me in a position to still do Repelize?
let's see. Be discovered. So you don't want to do that. Someone notices you. So it has to be a separated from your allies or pulled out of position. So here's the offer I'll make. You'd be rolling Rebel Eyes at advantage. We would like do the negate and you'd be rolling just Rebel Eyes straight.
Yeah, all right.
Okay. So what is the space that you find this surveyor in? And I want you to imagine when you find him, he is exactly as you would imagine a enforcer who's been named a surveyor, what he looks like. Like everything is angles and precise cuts and measured. And he is the one who is marking the boundaries of these spaces. You will notice him stop several times and very carefully take out a handkerchief of some sort and clear away chalk writing off of the sidewalks. What else do you notice about him before we go to your Rebel Eyes roll? What else do you see?
I think he's got one of those like tripod sighting things that I can't think of the name of, but it's he's holding it and carrying it very lovingly and carefully, and there's lots and like just an insane number of little dials to focus in on
Like-
God knows what.
Yeah, when you look at it, like there's gears that go into smaller gears, and they almost look like fractals. You can lose your eyes in the spiral of those. So let's have you roll Rebel Eyes.
That one is heat.
Heat.
Let's see. Oh, which is the same. So, another one of you, and that, and that's
That's a
2 5s. That's
That's
strong.
a strong hit. So what is
so
it you want to know? Like the clear here is there's a question you're going to get an answer to. So what is that?
He is just a guy, like he's not even getting the powers or benefits of full-on connection with the castle. What is motivating him?
He is an enforcer. He is
Oh, is
not
he?
a human being.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Like I think that's the thing you have the realization is you've never seen an enforcer because you didn't see Gabriel's doppelganger or the other agent that Gabriel faced, but this is probably the first time you've been confronted by a person who, when they look at you, realize that they aren't entirely real.
Gotcha. I want to know what is it that's motivating him to work with her, whether it is just like an effect of her presence or whether she's paying, tempting, bargaining with him for something.
He will say, and not in so many words, but because you are the ruler of a shard, question mark,
Mm.
he will say, you have no power over me. You have nothing to offer me. You should go away. He doesn't see you exactly, like he's seeing some essence of you, but not you exactly. He says, you cannot help me. She allows me to mark the spaces out that become outside. Each more one gives me another piece that I can take and hide away, that I can make into the fathomless beyond. I survey them and I mark them out, and when they are marked, they are done. I could show you how to drink of the nothingness.
No, I don't. I've got enough nothingness right now.
Then perhaps you'd like me to sketch you.
No, I don't think that's.
Then leave me be. I have to mark it all. And you see him begin to turn and return to this surveying. And I think now that you're kind of close, you can see when he does these like lines of surveying, there's like a color or a light or a map marker that comes up and kind of glows there that you can see now. Does that seem fair?
Yeah, I'm not
Or
really
or
sure how to, I don't think there's anything I can do with that. I don't think there's something I could try and motivate him away with that.
Mm-hmm. Well, we can work on it. We can see what you want to do move next time. You have a sense of his principles now. The question is how to disrupt them. Gabriel, let's come to you.
Yeah. Are we thinking of proceeding with Emperor's New Clothes at the kind of start of next session? I just want to make sure we give everyone an opportunity to knock these out, but we're getting close to that point.
I think we'll probably have like people to do you and Pam's action today. We'll stop, and then next time we'll do at least one more real world before we kind of hard frame us into that kind of Emperor's New Clothes and making some action there. Does that seem fair?
Yeah. So I'm just trying to think of what I could do to make myself useful here. We've got a sense as to what the shard is like, the kinds of entryways and dangers that one might encounter. I guess I just want to see if there's anything that we've missed in terms of preparatory work. We've met an enforcer, but haven't defeated them. We have full details of what they're planning as far as I can see.
Mm-hmm.
Don't know that I've suffered.
There's organized resistance that.
Yeah, Charlotte got that up and going.
Yeah.
Have we met anyone that people hold dear?
You've gotten the name of her son.
And we have not confronted her in person. Okay, no. So we have her in person. We have her son. We're working on the enforcer.
I'd be willing to put my head in the lion's mouth. So I did that last time.
Right. I don't know. I'm just trying to. I'm at a little bit of a loss as to what would be the most reasonable play here, just because I want to contribute to the kind of team effort here.
Well, so if I may intrude here, certainly Sasha has pulled out the enforcer, and it's a figure that could be defeated. It's a oppositional figure. That's one option. You could confront her son, given that you're the same age. That make you and Charlotte, that makes sense. That's another one. You could also look at where people are condition wise, if anybody has conditions marked. That's another preparatory thing.
Yeah, Pam's got some conditions going on. There might be a way to nullify some of those.
Does Sasha still have a crisis imminent?
No, I believe
Okay, that
Sasha
was an
took,
error.
right? You
Okay.
took care of that?
No, I do still have a crisis.
Oh, do
imminent,
you?
Yeah.
Okay.
He has been like overly optimistically mindedly avoiding that.
Oh yeah, that's right. And you're rolling with disadvantage on that one.
Well, I haven't met with Pam yet this session. I wonder if there's a way I can help clear a condition or something along those lines.
Yeah. Do you have any of your like covenant moves that can help with that? And I'll look at the
Yeah,
universal
good
moves here.
question. So my hangout move allows for marking world or void. It doesn't clear conditions though.
Okay. Where is I know that there's one that you can help somebody else. Clear condition. Where is that? Oh, you can just meet with the rebel. You trigger their hangout move, and they trigger yours. Then you check against fealty, and you can heal conditions that way.
Okay, and what move did you say that was?
That's check in.
Yeah, meet with a rebel under check-in, trigger their hangout move. Okay.
And
Okay.
what is your covenant again?
My covenant is star.
Star. Okay. And what is your covenant again, Pam?
Oh, the sun.
Okay. Star and the sun. So well, let's do that. Are you okay with that, Pam? So where do you think, Gabriel, you would track Pam down to? Is it at your hangout? Is it somewhere else?
Pam, do you want to set that? I'm just not sure where you would be hanging out.
Well, probably now that I've sort of cleared my stalker, seemed like it was, I would try to connect with people and find out more of what's going on. So hangout is a reasonable place.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's fine.
Mhm.
And I'm guessing I'm gonna approach you. Like I'm gonna be looking to you for assistance here, kind of advice, that sort of thing.
Okay.
So what are you doing at the hangout whenever I show up? I'm looking I think I would describe myself as kind of dazed and out of it, rather troubled. I'm probably coming straight from having seen the full Atlantis that the vassal is trying to set up. So I'm looking rather bewildered. What are you up to?
So I'm probably looking over stuff. Sounds like it might make sense for me to try to confront the vassal. So I'm looking at details of where her office is at that point. So I'm probably just what information I have easy access to.
Right.
In terms
Like
of
you
that.
know where it is, you know where office is, but you need kind of like get floor plans, like
Yeah,
office
well,
hours,
like-
all that stuff.
Yeah, just
Okay.
figuring out the best approach.
And so, Gabriel, when you go to talk to Pam, what are you asking for advice about?
I think I am going to say I don't know how all the stuff we're encountering ties together. And if we're activating each other's hangout moves, I might ask what's the connection between this vassal and my doppelganger. And I believe that Pam gets
Yeah,
a
Pam
chance to
gets
try to
say,
answer.
and it would be more right than wrong.
Okay.
Interesting.
So I feel like you need to look back to see what you used to do. Because this doppelganger is an echo, not of who you are right now, but maybe of what you were in the past. And if there is and if the vassal has a plan, perhaps she's trying to call upon what you used to be. Whether
I
she
like
knows it
that.
or not, but she's looking for a new enforcer.
Right.
Interesting. And then Gabriel, what triggers with you when Pam hangs out with you?
So I say what I am in the process of creating, and I will ask Pam what they think. And then Pam describes their honest feelings about it and her place in the world, I think. And in so doing, we'll get to mark world or void. I think the way they've got the they pronouns. I'm not sure if they're talking to me, the PC, or the person interacting with me, but I think that's how it works.
Simply don't add.
Yeah, so I think that yes,
So yeah, you are the they in
Yeah,
that, Gabriel.
I'll ask Pam what
right.
she thinks.
What
and
are you
Pam will-
creating?
Yeah, that's yep.
Yes, I am creating a more stable sense of identity.
Nice.
How are you doing that?
Out of character, I don't know if if this is a healthy way to go about it, but I'm trying
Sure.
to cut ties with my past.
Ooh.
With whatever the castle created me to do or to be. I'm trying to burn bridges aggressively if needed.
Well, I mean, the thing about burning bridge, the thing about burning bridges is it doesn't mean it isn't part of your life. It just means that it's not, it's in theory, you're making a stand on it, but it doesn't, those forces, those actions still exist. I don't know. That seems odd to me to remove pieces from yourself to stabilize your identity.
That's fair.
So I guess those are my honest feelings about it.
Okay. And so you can mark world or void as you feel is appropriate at this point.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch it. You're muted.
Yeah, that probably means marking world. That just feels more appropriate given my answer.
Okay.
So.
Absolutely.
And is this the part where I check fealty?
Absolutely.
Oh boy. A 4 and a 6. I think that's a strong hit.
That's a strong hit.
So
okay.
Pam, I'll let you go ahead and heal a condition here.
All right, I'm going to get rid of angry.
And one of us intensifies our crew covenants. I think both of our crew covenants are already good, aren't they?
Both of our crew covenants are good.
Okay.
So I don't know that has any impact, but
do you have a condition that you have marked, Gabriel?
I do have one, yes.
Then we'll say that you can then clear your condition.
That's the second item. Okay.
Yeah, we'll just double it up.
Okay,
cool.
All right. And then Pam, you want to go in and confront the vassal? What does that look like?
I think it's just one of those things where so if we know her plan to some extent.
Yeah.
So what I'm thinking of doing is getting a cheap picture of Atlantis, and going to a copy shop and getting some basically flyers of like no Atlantis here. And what I'm going to try to do is sneak those into her office during an important meeting, and sort of essentially this is meant to be confrontational, to let her know that yeah.
This is passed beneath notice to
Mhm.
do this and to indirectly confront her. That feels fair to me. You've done the research on where she's at. You've gotten some of the symbology, and you know that she's closely tied enough that she may have an awareness of her own
Right.
symbology.
Mhm.
Then let's have you roll against infamy.
All right. Okay. So I was looking up. My infamy is currently 3, so all right. That is a definite miss.
Okay.
Trying to remember what happens with that move on a miss. So I have to
On a miss, I get to act. Now you can evoke the
Okay.
covenant if you want to say which covenant you call on for aid.
Yeah, no, I think I will try to evoke a covenant for this.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is the kind of thing that Amira would know how to do. So I'm going to invoke Amira
Okay.
on this. That maybe she's given me some advice on how to sneak into government offices.
She probably comes with you because she
Oh, fair
knows the
enough.
place.
Yes. Oh, yeah, that works. Great. All right, so let's re-roll 1 die. Oh, that doesn't work. Okay. Okay, so that is a 5. So that is a weak hit.
Okay. Then pick 2.
All right. I don't want to get separated from Amira, so I think it's that we get noticed, and we have limited time, so we just
Okay.
don't have time to scatter this around the office and skedaddle, basically.
So here's the thing: is you have a choice. If you want to leave those flyers,
Okay.
then the cost for that is that you're going to get caught on camera. You're going to be discovered.
Okay.
Are you cool with that?
Yes, because
Okay.
technically it's not illegal.
Okay. Yeah. It is on the borderline of this. There is a moment as you two are leaving and you've dropped that Amira says, "It's good we got out of here because I actually have a restraining order from coming down here."
Oh. Mhm.
So it's good we got out of there because they might have thrown the cuffs on me.
Wish I had known that beforehand.
I just didn't want to say anything because it seemed like you were so intent on this, and I thought that was good.
Mhm.
So
Okay. Well,
I
here's
think
hoping.
we'll see that shot of her coming back to her office
Mhm.
and like seeing these flyers scattered across her desk.
Mhm.
And then we see her calling and she says, "I need to talk to somebody from the security office." She calls down to get what footage there is, but she has been confronted.
Mhm.
I want to roll back to a move, Sasha. So here's the interesting thing. One of the problems of splitting the city and castle moves is there is an appropriate move, I think, for what you were trying to do, but it's a castle move. We've got that move to interact with the minions there. That's the reach out.
Gotcha. Because what I was aiming
yeah.
towards is I have that subversive whisper shadow move.
Well, Well,
but I just couldn't think of what incident.
Yeah.
So if there's something else that would work in that situation.
let's do that reach out, just because you were kind of talking to them on that same level. And at the very least, you might be able to gain an advantage if you face them later in the castle. Does that sound
Okay.
reasonable?
Sure.
So you roll that with cups.
Cups is 1. Just seeing. Oh, gotcha. That might give me advantage on traveling the labyrinth later. Interesting. Okay. I knew I had some sort of covenant move that related to that somehow.
Yeah.
Roll that. 2 ones plus a 1. But once per session or once per investigation, I can turn a miss into a weak hit at least.
For a city move.
Ah, damn it! Is that what it does?
Yeah. Now you can re-roll one of those dice by evoking a covenant.
Yes. I think I've made use of Amir's covenant, so I'm gonna fade that one.
Okay. Then re-roll one of those dice and add cups.
It goes up to a 4.
All right. I think that the surveyor turns to you and says, I can smell him on you. Now, and he steps forward closer to you. Where is he?
Who?
Where is the Queen's Knight?
I don't know who you're talking about.
You do. Look into the waters. Where is he? I am but a pale shadow. He is out here. Know that I will mark you. And he touches you, and I want you to mark a condition.
I think. Let's see. What are? Realize line out to make stand pressure. I think overwhelmed feels fair.
Okay. And you kind of step back, and like I imagine that in some ways it's like you have to pull back, kind of step out of the castle space that you were kind of forming there, and step back away from him back into the real world to kind of get away from him, and you are shaken. Does that feel like a fair move there?
Yes.
Okay. Let's do the end of session move, and then let's do stars and wishes. Is that okay? Sherry, at the end of session, which is right. Wrap up.
Okay.
End of session. Take stock of what happened. You say what made the biggest impact on you. You made a difference to someone. The crew helped you. You focused on your own battle, or you're focused on your mundane life.
God, I think I really focused on getting ready to go to the castle, didn't I?
Yeah.
I was pretty.
You may mark
So-
void and
Okay.
shift a point between two of your castle stats.
Okay, I'll try to figure out what makes sense. Let's see here.
Sasha.
Yes. I think I focused on my mundane life.
Yeah.
As much as my mundane life turned out to have some weird encounters in it.
Your so-called mundane life.
Yes.
What gauge do you want to refresh?
So gauges. fealty. I think being in that club with Asteria and her sort of presence washed away a little of that taint of working with the castle.
Nice. Nice. Gabriel, what about you?
I'm thinking Void or focusing on the castle.
Yeah.
For me, just as
Yeah.
a consequence of all the doppelganger Atlantis stuff
Mhm.
that was going on. So I think that's a Mark Void.
Mark Void, shift a point. And Pam.
I think that probably I think I focused on my mundane life
Okay.
predominantly. Yeah, and
What do you cherish
including-
about that life?
well, I think that the confronting Jim kind of, reminds me that I've still got a useful set of skills, even if I can't seem to find this darn dog.
Mm-hmm.
So as far as that's concerned, I think I'm gonna crank down heat.
Okay.
Just because that feels better. I'm not the kind of thing that's going to be as menaced by the hostile elements of the world. So
Awesome. So in the meta, next time we're going to give another, at least one more real world action. And then we're going to move into the cast. We're going to kind of hard frame, even if we have to kind of allied some things or hand wave some things, but we're going to do that next time so we can kind of wrap up this particular vassal. I would like to do a quick stars and wishes though, if people are cool with that. Sherry, let's go the same order. Stars, wishes.
Yeah, I really like the progression of the characters that came out in this session. I think we saw a lot of good things, like a lot of cool things that told me more about people and our interactions. It feels like we're maturing into the game just in the penultimate session. So very much so.
Okay.
And wishes, I'm hoping that we can get in a good introduction to her son and then get in there and do her some damage in the castle. Looking forward
Okay.
to that.
Awesome. Patrick.
Stars, I really David, I really enjoyed your scenes with Gabriel and the doppelganger. And I really liked your like extreme reaction to it of like, oh no, it's a thing, it's evil, we don't need to consider it, it's obviously it's a part of the castle and all things that are a part of the castle are terrible. And it's just like, oh, there's no irony here, it's nothing, it's fine, it's, you feel great about yourself. um and it also like hit Sasha because I think he's having some problems dealing with pretending to be the him that would be the castle's servant inside the castle.
Mm-hmm.
Wishes, I have another. It seems like I do a lot of check-ins, but I like all the various different check-in moves that end up coming from stuff. So I want to do one more hangout at least with someone else in the crew. And part of that is trying to see if I can push my lack gauge all the way up to 6 as a sort of climactic thing, because interesting things sort of happen there, and if I were to imagine like changing to a different playbook, I think that would be a big good impetus for it.
Oh, interesting. Okay, yeah, we'll see if we can arrange that, if we can engineer that.
Because I can push my lack up one more, I'm pretty sure, but then I just need circumstances to help me out.
Well, now that you've told me, I will certainly engineer the circumstances that way. David.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I think it was you, Patrick. Didn't you describe a stupid cascade of moves?
Yes.
Quite enjoyed watching that. It was a good time. I enjoyed the connecting scene between Mendel and I. I thought that was good. It's nice to kind of do a little role play with other people who aren't NPCs. And likewise, I didn't get a chance to really speak with Sherry's character at all, but I appreciate the willingness to help me out, covering at the mall and letting me use you as part of the oceanographer's dream, which, by the way, I did like that scene quite a lot. So in any event, those are the big stars for me. I think wishes are just going to look like getting some closure on the doppelganger side plot. And other than that, I think everything else I can think of will be doing already, you know, just bringing some sense of closure to the vassal and getting a sense of kind of where the characters might go after the next session, that sort of thing.
Awesome. And Mendel.
Yeah, so I guess one star I did want to hit, you know, I like some of the other stuff people brought up. I did want to also mention I like share your interaction with Charlotte and Michael Throne. That I thought that the way that dynamic worked out was really neat. And so, but as far as wishes, it's kind of hard for me to say because it's like I feel like we're going to be hard pressed to actually resolve the vassal in the session. So I think that if we manage to do that, that's good enough for me.
Okay, I think
Yeah,
that's
I've
a
noticed
fair
this
point.
game does not have a great way to kind of like end things. So I'm not sure I'm not sure there's a better.
Yeah. No,
better, like-
and losing that session last week, I think
Yeah.
one more session would definitely have made this. So that was costly, but I didn't have heat stroke, so it's all good.
Yeah, no, I understand entirely.
Thank you all so much. I will see everybody next week. I'm going to stop the recording.